listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm your Tuesday Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Barker. We've got a great show coming up with some information about Richard Berger recalling working at NASA's test facility as a computer programmer, and Gabby Cox reporting on Toby Barker, the 35th mayor of Hattiesburg. And don't touch that dial because Jay Taylor Wright will share some things that you don't want to miss. You're listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277, and the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. In USM campus news, Southern Miss School of Performing and Visual Arts Dance Gala set for March 27th to 28th. You've heard that right. The Southern Miss School of Performing and Visual Arts dance program will showcase some of their original works by faculty and guests, which have all been brought to life by the dance students. The annual dance gala will be held March 27th and March 28th at the Thomas V. Fischello stage at the Performing Arts Center on the Hattiesburg campus. You can purchase your tickets at the door or advance online, so make sure to grab a ticket. Lawrence Utolo, Associate Teaching Professor of Dance, has this to say. More than just a performance, the dance gala invites audiences to experience the transformative power of movement. Through the dedication of our facility, of our faculty, and the collaboration with guest artists, I hope audiences leave with a sense of awe and wonder for our art form. Tickets are $18 for the public, $15 for faculty, staff, seniors, and military, and $8 for students. Make sure to stop by and enjoy the beauty of dance. In Hattiesburg news, juvenile dead after incident in downtown Hattiesburg. There was an incident at Veterans Memorial Park in Hattiesburg on Tuesday afternoon where they found a young person dead. At around 2:55 p.m., first responders arrived attempting to help them with no response. Mayor Toby Barker has this to say regarding the incident. Today is an awful day for our city. We grieve with the family and friends of the young person who died at Veterans Memorial Park. While we work to find the exact cause of the tragic accident, we ask our residents to lift up the victim's family in prayer. This is someone's child, someone's loved one, and someone's friend. Please avoid speculation while the investigation continues. In Mississippi news, Biloxi woman handed life sentence for first-degree murder, armed robbery following murder of best friend. District Attorney W. Crosby Parker announced that 21-year-old Angel Lexi Mae Pierce guilty of the first-degree murder and armed robbery. WDAM reported on this by stating, on March 28, 2023, Harrison County investigators were contacted by Hinds County investigators about a missing person reported on December 16th, 2022. Hinds County investigators identified the body as Smith, who they say was last seen in Harrison County. After Harrison County investigators took over the case, investigators conducted interviews, leading them to a wooded area of Elmer Ladner Road in Pass Christian, where Harrison County Fire Rescue, Gulf Coast Search and Rescue, and Long Beach CSI found Smith's remains. Upon further investigation, Pierce and then 24-year-old Jerry Cornelius Parkman were determined to be responsible for Smith's death and arrested on first-degree murder charges. Parkman was already in jail due to an unrelated charge. In national news, millions praise crossing guard who waltzed with sad girl whose mom arrived late to school. A crossing guard in China, Lu Jie, noticed that the mother of one girl was late to picking her up. The 5-year-old was upset, and Lu quickly stepping up to the task. He held the young girl twirling in a waltz as the two laughed and enjoyed the moment. On his account, he wrote, "I want you to go home happily, and your mother will not feel guilty anymore." One of the comments left on the video was, "An interesting soul shines anywhere, no matter what job they do." We'll be right back with sports and weather after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now for some sports. Southern Miss Athletics has an announcement. Men's tennis is back at Southern Miss Tennis Courts this Saturday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. Admission is free. Baseball defeats Ole Miss 6-2 Tuesday night in Pearl. Our Southern Miss Eagles finished off their baseball victory over Ole Miss Tuesday night with a 6-2 win. Our Eagles will travel to ULM for a Sun Belt Conference series, with the set beginning on Friday at 6 p.m. Let's go, Eagles. Men's golf finishes All-American Intercollegiate Tuesday with 4th place finish. Sophomore Benjamin Fernandez helped tremendously with the final round 72 to help Southern Miss place 4th in an All-American Intercollegiate in Humble, Texas Tuesday. Our Golden Eagles return to action at the Memphis Intercollegiate March 31st to March 1st. Let's go, Eagles. To keep up with all the Golden Eagles sports activities, head on over to southernmiss.com. Now for your weather. We're going to have some nice, cool weather today with the highs in the lower 60s and the lows in the mid-30s. Looks like there's going to be some patch frost potentially early Friday morning with the highs in the upper 60s to low 70s and the lows in the mid-40s. Saturday looks to be pretty warm and sunny with highs in the upper 70s and lows in the lower 50s. And Sunday is going to be pretty sunny with the highs in the upper 70s and lows to the upper 50s. And it also looks like there's going to be an 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms. So keep an eye out for that. Up next, we have Richard Berger recalling working at NASA's test facility as a computer programmer. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. Hattiesburg native Richard Berger graduated with a degree in mathematics in 1965. He recalls returning to Mississippi to work at NASA's test facility as a computer programmer.
I was born and raised here in Hattiesburg, and I did all my schooling, elementary through high school, was here in Hattiesburg in the Hattiesburg public school system. And when I went to college, I went to Tougaloo a couple of years, and I finished at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri, and I majored in mathematics. And from there, I went to work for General Electric in the space program. So I worked at it's Stennis Space Center now, but it's at that time it was called Mississippi Test Facility. I worked in the program where we test the first 2 stages of the Apollo mission that carried them into the moon. And this was just the first 2 stages that they tested there. And so I was a mathematician and computer programmer. This was back in '65. It was very educational and enjoyable. I enjoyed it.
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People, World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People, World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was Richard Berger. Coming up, we've got a special guest that you don't want to miss.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Now, please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to J. Taylor Wright. Hey, how are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty okay. So, first and foremost, for anyone who doesn't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. My name's J. Taylor Wright. Like you said, I'm from a small town south of Dallas called Waxahachie, Texas.
Right.
I just started here in the graduate program in the theater school for directing.
Yeah.
And Big Fish is my first project here at USM. Happy to be here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you actually just mentioned that you're a graduate directing candidate. Can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about that?
Every year there's a sort of assessment, I guess, after we do all of our work throughout the semester, and you can either maintain or not maintain your candidacy.
I see.
So it's just a fancy word that says we've got an eye on you to make sure that the M and the MFA makes a difference.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that it's more difficult to maintain, or would you say that it's something where like it's the same as like undergraduate?
There's I think just a little bit more of a vetting process. There's an expectation that there's some work that's been done post undergrad or out of your undergrad, or that you have qualifications enough to keep continuing your education toward a master's program.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So the main event, what exactly is Big Fish?
Big Fish. It's a musical. It was written in 2013. Andrew Lippa, who also did like the Addams Family, the musical. It is a show that's based on a movie and a book. Tim Burton movie. Ian McGregor, the guy from Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
He starred in that movie. And the show was written in 2013. It's a great show. It's about family and the impact of the stories that we leave behind, and the way that stories kind of trickle down into the ears of, younger people and generational. And it's a journey type play where we watch the lead character, Edward Bloom, and his life story.
Yeah.
And we watch his son kind of reckon with his passing by trying to learn. He's a traveling salesman, right?
Yeah.
And so his son didn't see a lot of him, and it's his son trying to figure out what was real about the stories that he told. He tells some pretty fantastical, imaginative, crazy stories. So he's trying to wrestle with was this true? Was this not? And it's a beautiful show, and the kids have been working really, really hard on it, and they're doing a really great job.
Yeah. And this is done by the USM students, right?
Correct. Yeah, graduate students, undergrad students, all in the theater department. We auditioned for shows at the beginning of our semester for whatever we have lined up coming up. So we auditioned right there the Sunday before we started, first day of our spring semester.
Wow.
And we were in rehearsals, I think, by the next week on Monday.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so we've been working for about 2 months, and we open tonight, 7:30. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And if I'm understanding this correctly, you're also the choreographer for Big Fish?
I am. I'm just the choreographer. I'm choreographing the show just means that I've got big dance numbers that have to get staged, and I give them movement. And then the way I choreograph is I really like to see a sketch of it and point at the things that work and say keep and click save, Command S on that. We like that. And then go back through and kind of etch out other things, see what it looks like. It's really the big ensemble numbers. So when you see a lot of people coming in that are, the supporting characters of the world that we're in, we're giving them movement to kind of support the story and lift the plot and keep the plot moving.
And how would you describe your choreography within Big Fish?
It's interesting. This department doesn't require a dance class, and so everyone's bringing in a different set of skills and understanding about movement. Stylistically, I wanted this to feel like these are I think in the world at large, we could afford to dance a little bit more, shake our hips, move
100%.
around, get moving. So I think that it really is just born out of a pedestrian place, and trying to see what gifts and talents and abilities that everyone has and trying to highlight those. And then for some that dance isn't so familiar to, it wasn't for me. I didn't start dancing until undergrad, and so I wasn't 18. I was 18 until I ever started to take a dance class. Yeah. So I learned late, and I wasn't in class when I was like, you know, a lot of people can be in class since they're like kids, you know, in a ballet class at 3 years old, you know, tendu. But it's been a really fun time trying to, and a challenge trying to build choreography on people where it's not so normal or it's not so second nature to them. But I've been so impressed, and I've been so thankful that I'm new and they haven't seen my face that much, but they gave a lot of trust in me, and I'm happy to see that some that may not have called themselves dancers prior could probably call themselves dancers now. So that's exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you actually mentioned your undergraduate. Were you here in USM for your undergraduate?
I wasn't. I went to Coastal Carolina University, and I got a BFA in musical theater there.
That's really cool.
And then after that, we showcased in New York City at that school. Nice. So I went to New York. We did our showcase, and then I had a job in the fall of that 2015, and then I moved to New York in 2016 and lived there until the pandemic. Yeah, so in and out of New York, working thankfully regionally as a professional actor.
That's fantastic, and that's congratulations to that first and foremost.
Yeah.
What does a typical day look like for you in a rehearsal?
So a typical day starts at the end of the school day. So that's always fun. You know, you have an 8 a.m. lab, and then, you know, you're class to class to class, and you got about 15 minutes to get ready to go in at 6 o'clock and rehearse until 10. So we start, it's usually, we meet as a team, the stage manager, our director, Matt James Ralph. We get together and decide, you know, like a build schedule of sorts. You know, like we need to accomplish this, and this by the end of the week. So we just chip away at that. We'll usually cut it up into little blocks of an hour or an hour and a half, and we'll work one number at a time. So we got in there early and just started doing a lot of choreography. Yeah. And then Matthew came in and started building out blocking for scenes, and then we started, you know, taking this random box of puzzle pieces and started putting them together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So can you tell us about how the students in the cast and crew produce excellence for Southern Miss?
Yeah, I think repetition, and always saying that whatever we just left in the room yesterday, we take a step forward or we take a step above what we were doing. If we made a mistake last time, let's try to not make that mistake the next time. Let's keep moving. Let's find new mistakes that we can correct and find solutions toward. And I'm excited to bring a little bit of that standard of excellence from my professional work and my career so far, and bring that to undergrads who haven't had that yet, and kind of figure out a way to build an expectation that that's the workforce that they're walking into if they choose to do so.
Absolutely. And I mean, you already exude this excellence already from like you working in New York and you getting your undergraduate, and it's amazing about all the stuff that you were able to accomplish.
I'm very lucky. I'm lucky to have a supportive family that and I'm not saying supportive like a ka-ching supportive. Like I definitely, the hustle's a part of it. But it's not an easy field of work to walk into, and so you kind of have to ask for a high standard or a high quality of ethic, and you have to have expectations on yourself that this isn't going to defeat you, and that it's just one more thing, and you just take it on the chin and keep moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you provide us any fun facts about Southern Miss Theater?
Yeah, Southern Miss Theater, we've got a lot of student-led organizations. That's the one thing that I've loved noticing and coming in here. There's Alpha Psi Omega, which is the theater fraternal, Greek sort of like theater organization, and that's across the country. And APO does a lot of work interdepartmentally, charity work. They're a great organization. We've also got student cabarets that are showcases of sorts. We submit that we'd like to do this or we'd like to do that, and then they're reviewed by the faculty and they get okayed. So that kind of stuff happens once a semester. You get to throw in for a showcase. We've also got Skip the Script. It's an improv organization. It's run by Gia Vanessa. I'm sorry if I messed up your last name, Gia. I love you to death. Gia is our prop designer for Big Fish.
Yeah.
She is an incredibly talented person. Shelby Burgess, Addison Driscoll. These are folks that are grad students and undergrads, and they have an improv. And you're welcome to come. Anybody's welcome to come. You don't have to be in the theater department for that. And there's also a BIPOC organization called Harlem. Just creates safe space for people to talk about where their place in the theater is and what they want to see happen to the theater for people of color to increase representation. It's a historically white room. It's a historically white audience. It's a, and those things are breaking down, thankfully. And there's more representation for stories happening there. That's headed up by one of the lovely women in our show, Olivia Landry, who plays our witch. That's right. There's a witch in our show. You can come sing. The Southern Miss has got a lot to offer, and there's a lot of really dedicated students that push for more creative outlets for us, just besides what is curriculum and main stage and those other kind of performance opportunities.
Right. Absolutely. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when can we see Big Fish? I know there's a lot of dates that you can see it. So, like, what are some of the dates we can see it?
You can see it tonight at 7:30 p.m. at the Martha R. Tatum. You can see it tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m., and then Saturday night, correct? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. And then next week, we have shows on Friday and Saturday at 7:30 as well, and then a 2:30 matinee on Sunday. That's our closing show. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And how much does it cost to see the show?
18 for adults, 15 for faculty, staff, military, and seniors, and then for students, bring your ID at the box office, $8. And I think online you might be able to purchase the tickets as well. I'm not totally sure, but that you might need to use your USM EDU account. But safe bets to go to the box office at the Theater and Dance Building. And go see Charlotte. Charlotte will be there. This person, our box office manager, and they will hook you up for an $8 ticket. That's cheaper than the breakfast sandwich that I just got this morning. So that's not a bad trade for a night of theater, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And like, can you bring your card, like your debit card, credit card?
Yeah.
To pay for
Debit,
it,
credit, cash. Those three sound. I'm not gonna say check. I don't know if people are even writing checks anymore.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if they are, but cash, debit, or credit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's amazing, and I would love to talk with you all day if we could, but I know that we're running out of time.
That's all good.
Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners?
Yes, I do. I want to share about the next two things that are popping up in our season. One of our third-year grad actors, Donnie Elkins, is going to be performing a one-man show called Every Brilliant Thing by Duncan McMillan. It's a really great play that follows his effort to cope with his mother's depression and ideation, and he creates this list of brilliant things in the world to try to find a positive to like rail against that. Yeah. What he knows. That's going to be on March 24th at the Woods Theater in the Theater and Dance Building at 4:15.
Okay.
And then we've got Sense and Sensibility, which just started rehearsals this past week. That's directed by our new directing head, Matthew Ernest, and it's an adaptation of Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Yeah. And it is going to be a rip-roaring, boots the house down, exciting production of Sense and Sensibility that'll be at the Hartwig. Same building. And our black box space. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, J. Taylor Wright, for coming on today and providing a voice for our Eagles.
Totally. Thanks, Skylar.
Coming up, we've got Gabby Cox reporting on Toby Barker, the 35th mayor of Hattiesburg. Check it out.
Mayor Toby Barker serves as the 35th mayor of Hattiesburg. He is a graduate of USM and is currently gearing up for his next term as mayor.
I think we're just getting started. I think the potential for this city is limitless. And as we approach the 150th anniversary in 8 years of Hattiesburg, we want it to be at a completely new level that makes it poised to go and compete with all those regional places that sometimes we lose that talent to, like New Orleans, like Mobile, Baton Rouge. We think we can compete at that level. And so I'm just excited about the future.
Valencia Hill gives her perspective and talks about why she likes living in Hattiesburg.
So something I like about Hattiesburg is that there's like a lot of things to do. There's a lot of stores here that I've never been to, or a lot of restaurants. So I find it pretty cool. I actually found this new ice cream place today with my friend that I've never been to before. So I like how there's plenty of things to do.
Toby talks about why he wants to encourage USM students to stay in Hattiesburg after they graduate.
We hope that students will consider staying in Hattiesburg after graduation. We'd love to help them be part of that and try to help them find employment. And I just think there's a lot to be had here in our city.
I do plan to stay here after I graduate. Like I said, I'm from a smaller town. I'm a psychology major. There's more opportunities here for me than Meridian.
We will look forward to what's to come for both Hattiesburg and USM. Gabby Cox, SMTV.
Thanks for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Huge thanks to Seb Hodges, our audio engineer, and Meadow Smith, our video engineer, for keeping this bird flying. Big shout out to our assistant producer, Sam Romeo, and our program director, Adeline Fields, as well as our executive producer, Ore Ide, and our GM, Dr. Wilbur Martin. Don't forget to follow SM2 Media on social media. I'm your Tuesday Thursday show host, Skylar Angus Barker. Stay golden, Eagles.